Hello, this is Rosalie, mom of 8 kids. For those who don't know, my husband passed away suddenly, unexpected last July, and it's been hard. And I wanted to make this video to answer some questions that people have been confused about. I also want to let you guys know that I've also had 2 more people visiting me. One was the Family and Children's Services, again, for the second time. They had already closed their investigation from being called when my husband passed. Suddenly, that was routine, I understand. That's because the children were so young. And the police were called again on me. I'm laughing because I'm not in trouble. But apparently, the fax worker showed up at my door, and I had just gotten a letter 2 days prior saying that the investigation was closed. So last Thursday, so I'm recording this, today is Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, October 10th. Last Thursday at 4 a.m. in the morning, the police were knocking on my door because somebody in the same province that I live in called the OPP because they had seen my videos. I live in Canada, so we don't have states, we have provinces in Canada, and so the OPP was able to look up where I live because they have everything on record there. And they came to check on me. I mentioned that in a previous video already, and they just wanted to see how I was doing. You know, make sure that I wasn't suicidal or anything like that. So they asked me some questions, and yeah, they said that I wasn't in trouble. And then they left, and I told them that I appreciated them checking on me because they were understanding, and they said anyone would have those kinds of thoughts, you know. The video was 39 hours after my husband had suddenly passed. So they saw the videos I posted on YouTube. Everything's out in the open now. So now on to the very next day, last Friday, I got a visit from the fax worker, again, this time another worker, and somebody from Switzerland, believe it or not, had contacted them. He said he didn't know that they even existed. He couldn't remember the exact name, but it was cyber security, something like that. And they contacted Family and Children's Services in the US. It's called CPS, Child Protection. And so that's why they came. And so yeah, believe it or not, I guess there's some kind of organization policing the internet. And so he wanted to speak to all the children, which he did. He asked everybody questions. He wanted to do a check of the whole house. And I showed him the whole house, and a thorough check of the whole house. He even wanted to see like what was behind the closet doors. So I showed him, I said it's just a closet and this is a bathroom. I showed it to him, so you know, he saw the basement. There's no dungeon or anything. And for those who think that I'm conning people in and I'm making this all up, I'm not making it up at all. Here's the letter I can show you. Here, I'm just going to cover the address. This is the letter that I received like 2 days before the worker came again. Fax Family and Children's Services. And this is the date. Let me see here. There's the date. So you can see I'm not lying. And let me see here. I just want to cover up the area there we go here. Right here. It says, hang on here, I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Hopefully you can read that. I'll read it. This is to advise that Family and Children's Services has concluded the child protection investigation pertaining to your family referred to this agency on July 16th. The reported concerns were verified. However, the risk of ongoing concern has been mitigated and your file with this agency will now close. So see, I will show it again. If you couldn't see it before, it's focusing now. See, will now close. So they came. She visited every, let me see here, every 2 weeks she wanted to visit, and she came 2 or 3 times. And so yeah, and you know, when the police came that early morning at 4 in the morning, I told them that Fax Head came and checked everything out. I offered to show them the letter. They were all right. They didn't need to see the letter. And, you know, I told them they could contact my doctor or something like that. It was 4 a.m. in the morning, but I did tell them about my family doctor. And so the very same day, at 10:30 in the evening, the detective shows up at my door. Again, somebody had called and complained that they weren't investigating properly because I said on the video that I had this evidence and that I didn't tell them about the evidence. And I gotta tell you right now, if I was guilty of doing anything, then I would not talk about it on social media. So she talked to me for about half an hour outside, and she said, "Why didn't you ask me about it?" And I said, "Well, I didn't think that you could talk about it. Like, honestly, I don't think detectives are allowed to talk about cases. I don't think you're supposed to or can ask them, you know, what they're thinking." So she told me, "Well, do I believe he was the husband of your life? Yes, I do. And do I expect there to be anything suspicious with the results of the autopsy?" She said, "No. I expect that it'll just show opiates in his system and that's it." So she said she was very, very nice, very understanding. She said that she slept with her children too in bed, you know, because she breastfed. And she said some people will think that's terrible. And she said, and yes, your house is not clean to my standard of living, but I'm also neurotic about that kind of thing. So she cautioned me about, you know, trolls being on the internet, and there will be people that troll me. But she says, but I noticed that you had a donation thing going, and I know that you are in a difficult financial situation. And she said, "I commend you for doing something about that." So, yes, she was nice about it. And let me see, what else did she say? I think that was pretty much it, except that now I have to go in tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, in the afternoon, I have to go at 3 to the police station, and she has to ask me some questions about the video that I took. The video and the pictures that I took of my husband before he passed away. So she said I'm not in trouble. So if I wanted, I could bring a lawyer, but she says you won't need to because you're not in trouble. And now she does have to ask me some questions about those things because it wasn't brought up before when she came. So I'm not worried about it. And I wanted to answer a few questions because I know that there's been some confusion going on. And yes, July 16th is the day my husband passed away unexpectedly. I've been trying to leave dates in the description or pin it in a comment above the comment section. People are spreading rumors saying that I'm deleting comments. They're saying I'm lying about when he died. I'm putting everything out in the open. You know, I don't know what more I can do. I'm putting the date at the start of every single video that I do now. So on with the questions. One question that I get asked a lot is, what are you doing with an older guy? Like that old. My husband was 70 when he passed away. And I think that the best way to answer that is, and to answer a lot of questions, is to tell you guys what happened. So I've been married to him for 20 years. I was 19 when we got engaged. I met him in college. I was in the social workers program, and so was he. And at the time, he had a lot of energy. He was the top student in the class. We had 80 students in our classroom, and he was the top student. He was the president of student council. He was the executive director of pro-life. He was head of, or I guess you could say executive director of pro-life at college, and he had won some student awards. He had a lot of energy. And when we got together, he was the one that would go out every single morning at 6 a.m. for an hour-long bike ride. I'm not kidding. I would be the one in bed till like 7 in the morning, and he would be the one getting up bicycling, and he would bicycle really fast. So after a couple years into our marriage, he had a strenuous youth, I guess you could call it. When he was about 30, he spent a lot of time walking because unfortunately he had anorexia nervosa, and he suffered from depression, and this was long before we ever met, back when he was 30. When we got married, when we got together, he was about 50 years old, so this was way before we met. And he did a lot of walking, and anyway, it caught up with him in old age. So his back became severely painful. He was diagnosed with disc degenerative disease. It's an ongoing decline in your back, where like the spongy tissue between your spine, the discs, it like compresses and it gets squished, so you don't have that shock absorption anymore. So it was very painful. It was chronically painful, which is why he wasn't able to help me much around the house later on in his years. So I guess that would have been about 2 or 3 years into the marriage, maybe even 4 years, where he was diagnosed with that, and he was prescribed heavy opioids at the time. Plus we had also moved provinces. So then another question that people ask me is, well, how can you afford to do like the groceries I do with the money I get? First of all, I live in Canada. Things are different here. Second, even in Canada on disability, you can work. You can work so many hours, and then after a certain point, they will deduct from your disability, but you can work while on disability here. So it's not like the US. And we weren't always on social assistance. What happened is long time ago, when the recession came, the Great Recession, 2009, 2010, we lost most of our money in the stock market. And my husband took that very hard because he was the one investing it. He felt bad that he lost the money, even though I had not blamed him for it ever, because I was the one that encouraged him to get into the stock market. He was smart. I figured that that would be a good way that him and I could stay home with our children and we could collect dividends and be home with our family. But that got all wiped out, and then we had to go on social assistance. So, needless to say, my husband's health declined again. He fell into a depression. He felt bad that he couldn't give us the life that he wanted to. He felt bad that that money was for his family's future. And it's too bad, you know. I don't think he ever recovered from that, to be honest. I don't think he ever recovered from losing the money in the stock market. And I know some people would say, well, it's only money, but that was our future, you know. And so here, let me look here. Let me see what else what other questions there are. Let me see here. Oh yeah. While he was in that depression, I became pregnant with our son Victory, who is now 12 years old. And the reason why his name is Victory is because there's a special meaning to it. My husband would have suicidal thoughts at that point in time, and gradually he was able, over months, to move away from those thoughts of thinking how he'd like to kill himself. And so the birth of our son, our fourth son, was a point whereby he was able to be victorious in fighting those kinds of thoughts and desires, and that's why we named him Victory. So that's a quick rundown of our situation in the last 20 years, and I hope that clears up a lot of questions that people have been having. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow with the detective. And I've been appreciating all of the support and the stories and experiences that you've been sharing. I really appreciate all of the kindness, and I want to tell you that I don't feel alone as much anymore now that I've done this, and so many of you have been so kind. So I do truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. I think I hear the baby. Okay, bye.